Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Moms Talk Sex podcast with me, Mor Yelvington, your host. I'm so excited and honored that you're here because today's conversation is going to blow your mind. I have the beautiful Jackie here with me today. Hi, Jackie.
It's Jaycie, but
Sorry, Jaycie.
that's okay. Totally fine. It's not a normal name. So yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Jaycie, why don't you share with us what it is that you do in the world of women?
So I so I am a rebel soul coach, and my company is, and it's a curse word. So can I drop the F-bomb? I didn't ask you that before.
You can.
Okay, I figured so, but I wanted to make sure. So my company, I founded Rebel Soul Fuckery, and I
Mhm.
work with high achievers who really just kind of missing that. They checked off all the boxes and then they go, wait, I feel empty. And so they're really wanting to reconnect with that inner rebel fire, and they're wanting to connect with that spiritual piece of themselves, and dream work and synchronicities and all the signs and all the woo stuff, but how to apply it practically so they can get their message out and tell their story and speak in a way that absolutely drives their message home and really connects with people.
I love that so much. So, let me ask you this. How did you get to where you are right now? How did you get to this point? How did you connect to this? How did you become, the soul fuckery master?
So my first company I started when I was 18. I'm 53 now.
You look
So
amazing, by the way.
I did my dance studio, and I had been told as a young woman that was an honor student and cheerleader in high school and all the things, right? All the things. Going into my senior year in high school, sat down with a guidance counselor to choose, what those courses would be for my senior year. Told him my thoughts, my dreams, college wise, as well as potentially building my own studio. And he said, you should just be a secretary. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So the summer after I graduated, that summer, I started teaching students in my parents' side yard. And a year later, I opened the doors to the dance studio that I physically helped build with my bare hands.
Wow.
So I was very successful with that, sold it for a profit, 16 years later. And by that point, had gone on and picked up my psychology degrees and so forth. Now, I've owned a number of companies over the years, but a number of years ago, I went through a really ugly divorce and dissolved the company that was a global coaching company for authors. And at that point said, I'm not ready, because it was gaslighting and, all this stuff that so many of us have heard about. I dealt with a narcissist, right? And so I was not ready to launch a new company at that time. I needed to heal. So I did a lot of other things, contract work and some other really cool things, even led ghost tours. I've done some cool stuff. But 2023, I said, all right, I'm ready. I got ready to launch a new company and focus on storytelling and speaking. And I promptly broke my leg, like a bad break. And so I
Wow.
had to, a plate and 8 screws later. And that's a pig and a dog story. So I said, okay, I'll hold until I could heal, because I couldn't deliver. Things were just crazy at that point. And in early 2024, I launched my new company, started taking on clients again and working with the storytelling aspect. But then in late summer, I had one of those beautiful divine downloads and knew that I actually really needed to stand really strong and stand out in my rebelness, and the fact that I'm fluent in the F-bomb, and really stand out in that. And so name Rebel Soul Fuckery came to me, and I put it all out there. And that was also, strangely enough, when I said, okay, I'm going to finally professionally bring in all of those spiritual things that I do so often with clients anyway. And at the same time, merge that with their speaking. So that's where it all came. It was a very interesting path to get here.
I love that. So, let me ask you this. After dating somebody narcissistic, how did, I'm curious, like maybe you can share a little bit about how does that show up in the bedroom? right? Like, how do you heal and overcome that? Because that feels like that could be very, like shutting who you are down.
Yeah, that one was, so I was married to him for 16 years.
Hmm.
So, and I have a son with him. So difficult, shut myself down. I mean, it was a lot of drinking wine to get through those experiences with him because I couldn't. I just wasn't attracted. And it's a really deep story, but we won't get into all of it. But so when I started dating, it was like, for me, it was like, oh my gosh, this part of me is free and I'm attracted to someone. And oh my gosh, I'm not just all like cold. I actually feel something for someone again. So it was an exciting time. Now, mind you, has done damage because there's still times because I'm single now again. I'm not seeing anyone currently. And because I'm ready for a relationship again, that deep love, you have to have that blended with the deep attraction. And so, super attracted to you, yes. I can't tell you how many times that I go, is that all he wants? I mean, I'm 50 plus, but is that all he's after? Is he just, or does he really love me or really like me? And I know that that comes from a lot of what I went through during that time because that husband that I had was very, it was definitely something he was manipulative with and gaslighted in regards to our physical sexual relationship.
So did you feel like that suppression of your sexual energy had to do with the success or failure of your businesses?
At that time, yes and no. The business that I had, I dissolved a business. The one I dissolved right after the divorce, and the judge gave me control of it. And so then I finished everything up and then I dissolved it because I didn't want to remain partners with him, of course. But it had been my baby. It was my company. It was my idea. And it was going pretty well. However, grown even more and been even more successful. Absolutely. And I had a different company that I was wanting to build and I had worked on it some I was very focused on it. It was completely mine and it was focused on women and empowering women. And I cannot tell you how many times he undermined that. Just at my confidence in myself and and I'm a powerhouse. Still, he knew me well. Like I said, I was married to him for many years, and so he undermined those things. And this was not the narcissist that tells you mean things. It was very under the radar. To be honest, a lot of things I've not even heard too many other people experience. It was very secretive in the way that he did things, sneaking on my laptop and friending people or unfriending people on my Facebook profile. You name it, there was a lot of stuff that happened. And I'm like, I didn't unfriend them. Who is this person? I didn't friend them. So things went on. So the gaslighting, right? That does make you sometimes think, am I cray cray? So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. So it looks like you had to overgo a lot of healing in order to get to where you are right now.
I did. And that was why I really chose. I just put a post out. I don't know when this will air, but I just recently put a post out on LinkedIn and Facebook because I was talking about how I chose not to go build a new company at that time. I kind of started to, and then I knew it was wrong. I wasn't ready. So I did contract work. I ghost wrote some books. I did the ghost tours and led those, did a few other things. And then finally, like I said, I was ready and I was ready to launch, but it took quite a few years to really heal. And I actually, in that time frame, I actually moved from Texas. I moved back to, I say back because I used to live in the Southwest. So I moved to New Mexico and stayed on a ranch for 6 months. And the healing that I experienced there, it was such a peaceful place. There was such an energy about that particular area. And the people that I met and made friends with, I healed so much. And I only live about an hour from there. So I didn't move too far. And that was what really helped me. Yeah, just get back into the space of regaining my confidence. Now, the other big thing I will say that I regained my confidence with after that divorce, I started training in jiu-jitsu, which
Mm.
anyone that knows anything about jiu-jitsu knows that it's mostly men,
Yeah.
women that train in it. And a long time to understand why that mattered. Why did that work for me? And I think part of it was because I learned how to trust the men that I trained with. I learned how to trust them. And so I had this safe space of, oh, there are guys that I can trust because they were
Yeah.
truly became my family and truly teammates. And so I think that was, though I didn't understand that at that time, that for me worked out really, really well.
So after this healing and this time off, it's like looks like you really tapped into your soul purpose
Mm-hmm.
and started
Absolutely.
reclaiming it. How does that show up in the bedroom?
How does this? Oh, wait. Oh, that's a good question. How does that show up in the bedroom? I think for me, I'm such a giver to begin with. So I'm so and loving, but I also learned how to receive
Yeah.
in a way that is, when you, especially my age, because I'm a Gen Xer. So a lot of us still taught in my generation that, sex is dirty, sex is bad. We don't talk about it. You only do it for this, that, or the other. It's more on his terms. And I to understand and embrace the fact that that's not the case. It should be mutual. It should be freaking amazing.
Right.
And and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in wanting certain things or telling him what you like or don't like, or her, whatever the case may be. But to experience that and to embrace that and to be comfortable with that and to be confident in your sexuality, and not just in the bedroom, but even when you're walking through the grocery store and you notice that someone's admiring you. Now, let's all be honest. If they're like looking you up and down, that's kind of gross. I had a creepy guy the other day. It was like, you smell so good. And I was like,
Oh,
freak. But oh yeah, I was like, and he was like really clean. He touched my back. I was like, get away from me. But
oh no.
anyway, yeah, I was like, that's inappropriate. But because I didn't know him. But be comfortable. Like, no, if you get noticed, okay, someone thinks you're attractive. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Embracing it.
Yeah. And receiving that when it's an appropriate compliment, and also then being able to receive when you do have a partner, receiving that admiration, that attraction, that fact that you've got them really turned on. Yeah, that's amazing.
I love that. So what would be for you the rebel soul fuckery ideal bedroom persona? Like what does that like when you step into that, what does that look like?
Oh, you have some excellent questions. Questions I haven't thought about yet. I haven't thought about
No,
that. I'm like,
because
oh no.
I'm thinking about these amazing women in your community. I'm thinking about the women, listening to us, and they're probably like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, if I'm a rebel soul, you know,
Yeah.
then what does a rebel soul look like in the bedroom, right? Like,
Yes. I think
what
no, you're
does that
totally
mean?
right.
I'm like,
Totally
okay,
right.
let's tap into the energy of that. What's the energy of that we're bringing forward?
When we're rebels, we're willing to break the rules. We're willing to stand out. We're willing to do things differently. We're willing to do what feels right to us.
Yes,
And all of those things should apply to our sex life. It
yes,
doesn't matter what you want, what you're turned on by. You need to have that conversation with your partner and have a partner that you can find mutual ground with so that you're both comfortable with whatever it is that you're turned on by and want to explore. And that's what it should be. It shouldn't be the expectations of your society or your culture. It should be what you want and what you're comfortable with, and what's going to offer you an opportunity to explore new things with your partner and to deepen your relationship emotionally and spiritually, because you're trying new things together or doing something different and stepping outside the box. And for that matter, that keeps your sex life spiced up anyway, right? It doesn't get boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can't get boring when you're tuned into who you are, is what it really is. And I love how you worded that. So if you're listening to this and what was just said really touched you, it's because there's a part of you that desires to be a soul rebel and desires to be part of this community. And this is in you. You should definitely reach out to Jaycie and join her community of rebel souls, because that means that your soul is yearning for that as well. And we are here to tell you that if you are feeling the pull, it's because it's somewhere in you, alive and ready to be awakened. No matter what the circumstances are, as you can see from Joji's story, right? You can overcome anything, even marriages of 16, 20, and 30 years. I've seen it all on this podcast.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions for any of us, please leave them in the comments. I'm so honored to have you here with me today and for this conversation. I really feel like we tapped into the energy of what this really is and have to bring it forward into the world. And I hope you guys can feel it all the way to you at home. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And I'll talk to you and hear from you again next week. Bye.